Um, well, good morning, actually. Um, uh, I would just like to take this moment, very few moments, hopefully, to respond to Mr. Hakimoto, the Foreign Secretary of the Nemkhav Federation. And there's a difference between federation and federal republic, um, which I hope to get to. In his first paragraph on this comment for concerning Kozuc, Um, he says that it's hypocritical of Sandus to comment on Kozuc while we have harshly criticized Nemkavia for their stability missions. And there's a very large difference, actually, between Sandus and Nemkavia. Sandus is viewing this from the outside, just as any regular sovereign state would do. Whereas Nemkavia sends actual diplomatic missions which violate, quite clearly, sovereignty of the states that they're sending these missions to, so that they can control them. Not for Sandus. We don't have diplomatic missions to foreign countries where we are the government, or where we help the government. This is our observation, and we're commenting on it. We're discussing it because this is a concern for us, for St.Charlie, and for Kozuc. And there's a difference why our anti-federation um, policy is being overlooked, and that is because Kozuc, um, not only because Kozuc has been saying that they wish to stay in St. Charlie, but that dedication has also been tested. So it's clear that Kozuc does want to stay in, and so this goes beyond the federation policy that we have. We still believe that Kozuc might not even last in the Federal Republic of St. Charlie. But the fact that they want this dedication, we are going to, or they have this dedication to remain in the Federal Republic. That's why we are looking past our anti-federation policy, because our anti-federation policy is limited to states entering federations. Once they're in, yes, we're still going to be against them being there, and we still are, but we're going to focus on the present rather than the past. Very Buddhist, might I say. And specifically, I want to target this argument that Kozuc should be focusing on its military. I don't think that should be the case. Specifically because they have been, and as Mr. Hakimoto pointed out, then they have foolish wars. And Mr. Hakimoto states that the military in Kozuc should have its own independence, have its own autonomy to operate on its own, and that shouldn't be the case. That should never be the case, because it is the St.Charlian armed forces. They should be centralized, and since these military forces are acting rogue, as one could say, um, by having them acting rogue, then it becomes a foreign affairs issue, which affects St. Charlie altogether, because that's where Kozuc is part of. Also, remember that St. Charlie in the past, it's had federations, but what we always see from the outside, at least, is that St. Charlie is focused on its interior, on all of the federations coming together and forming this federal republic. It's not a federation and it's not a confederation like the Nemkhav Federation. Its federations do have some powers, but they don't have powers like they do in Nemkavia, simply because Nemkavia is a confederation of states coming together. But St. Charlie, uh, well, St. Charlie does that too, but Nemkavia is more, you can join the federation to improve your nation. But that isn't the same for St. Charlie. St. Charlie is more, you can join us, but now you're St. Charlie. In fact, this is actually something that Prime Minister Reinhardt told me, that that's one of the issues, that they want to see a greater involvement of Kozuc in the St. Charlian system, not the Kozuc system. Um, and I just have to stress this a lot because it seems that Mr. Hakimoto likes to play victim a lot. He likes victimization, apparently, and the anti-federation policy is not limited just to Nemkhav. Um, the reason why we have approved of the recent Renesia and Gishebrun union is the fact that they have similar cultures, something which we talked about, Sandus talked about, in the article concerning the anti-federation policy. So they meet that criteria, but Kozuc joining St.Charlie, they don't necessarily have a lot in common. Not anything culturally, um, not really anything, not geographically. Um, and so it just doesn't make sense to us. So that's why we're focusing on the present with this article specifically. Um, and uh, we're focusing on the present so that we can, in fact, improve Kazakh. Even if they should leave, we want to improve them. Because it's always been their historical past to change governments or to do this and that. And to have wars. They have quite a lot of wars, surprisingly. And it's it's bad for their country, and it's bad for micronationalists altogether, and I explained why in the article as well. Um, and just there are a few things that I haven't even read from Hakimoto's um, statement. But looking over, saying that the military structure should be reorganized, from what I gather, it's not necessarily organized altogether. Um, and uh, yes, someone needs to know who has power in Kozuc, and I believe we all know who actually has power in Kozuc. But apparently, um, but this is what I love. This, however, is something which Kozuc will need to work out for itself in order to develop a government system that represents the interests of its people. Um, I have one issue for that. Not that I don't believe that they don't have the right to do it, but they've been independent. They've been in unions. They've been in the Federal Republic of St. Charlie, and they still haven't developed a government system that works best for them. So now it's sort of coming down to the line. They've been in existence for quite a while, and it's something that should actually start to be working, just about worked out actually, and it hasn't been worked out. Um, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't be something that they need to work out. It's something that they and St. Charlie needs to work out. But and again, this just simply reiterates my point that Sandus doesn't have missions where we go into nations and essentially violate their sovereignty. But this is something that is their decision. Sandus is merely commenting on this fact. We're commenting on the issues within St. Charlie and Kozuc, because I was rather surprised when Mr. Small, when we were talking after the summit, just before the weekend actually, and he said that no agreement was made, and there actually needs to be an agreement, whether it's an informal agreement, whether it's a formal agreement, there needs to be something done, and even Prime Minister Reinhardt and President Luna, they agreed together that there needs to be something done, and that's where I've gotten this idea that there needs to be an agreement. Um, and I do agree that the Federal Republic will need to undergo serious change in order to become suitable for taking on constituent nations, as it's attempting to do. But I believe that the more important fact is that they should actually be focusing on preserving their country as it is. Um, because so many, uh, I have to use this chemistry term, so many different neutrons and protons are bombarding the atom that is St. Charlie, that it's going to become radioactive in a way, somewhat like many other federations, actually. And that's not something that I would like to see for St. Charlie, because St. Charlie has always been a unified nation. It's always had a central bureaucracy, a central government of federations of different uh, regions coming together. And the fact that this could change with the recent Federation-esque policy that they've been having, I think it's dangerous for the Federal Republic. But above all else, it's their decision, and that's why we've looked past our anti-federation policy. We still have it. Don't worry, we still have it. But we're more concerned that Kozuc needs to advance and become stable and mature, because right now it's clear to us and to many other people, including the Federal Republic of St. Charlie, that Kozuc isn't stable. And to some, that may seem a little mean, that may seem a little harsh. To me, that's life. And they need to start dealing with it. They need to start calming down, becoming more stable. And if they don't, then they're going to leave St. Charlie and make a whole other mess that we're all going to have to deal with. And as many other people would say, face palm to it. Surprisingly, I'm saying that now. Anyway, um, so we are not impeding St. Charlian sovereignty. We're not impeding Kazakh sovereignty or autonomy. Um, we are saying things how we believe them to be, how we have seen them to be, and we don't have a stability mission for St. Charlie or for Kazakh. It wouldn't make sense for us, simply because I'm typically the only person who's actually doing uh, diplomatic work. So uh, that simply wouldn't make sense. So there's no hypocrisy there. I don't understand the hypocrisy. And to introduce your comments in that way, um, Mr. Hakimoto, it was uh, sort of didn't make sense to me, because this article was nothing about having a diplomatic mission to a foreign country, especially to St. Charlie, which has had a long-standing and successful republic, and somehow overthrowing their sovereignty and saying that this is what they need to do to make sure Kazakh is successful. We don't have that. We've never had diplomatic missions where we impede other nations' sovereignty, because it's against our beliefs as micronationalists and as a state. It goes against our foreign policy. Um, but that doesn't mean that we still don't. Pardon me. No, we still don't have uh, opinions and points of view for our closest allies, um, as Nemkhav was once one. Anyway, um, so that is my response. A little long-winded, but there is simply no violation of sovereignty on Sandus's part towards St. Charlie, as you have insinuated. But that's typically it. I'm going to look over your statement again, and if there's anything else, I'll write another reply. But thank you. Actually.